Poet, dancer, singer, activist, and scholar, the late Maya Angelou once said, "When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time." In today's video, I want to take a moment to address this concept of separating fact from fiction in relationships. Before I get into that, let me take a moment to introduce myself briefly. Hello, my name is Marissa Senya, and I am a freedom coach. I help women who are feeling trapped or stuck in unhealthy relationship dynamics by providing strategic guidance and support so that they can gain the confidence, clarity, and sense of community that they need to make a peaceful exit from relationship dynamics that no longer serve them or dynamics that were never working for them in the first place. So, as I mentioned earlier, today I want to unpack this concept of separating, the facts from fiction in dating relationships. Okay, so this Maya Angelou quote, I may quote her a couple of times in this video because she has relevant, quotes on this topic that I would love to share with you. So this concept of, projection is something I want to unpack first. When it comes to, dating and we meet somebody initially that we are attracted to, we tend to be ruled by the concept of the attraction and going with the flow of attraction and going with maybe the initial things that we spot in a person that resonates with us, that gets us excited, and hence the butterflies and what we might even enter into called a honeymoon phase of the relationship, where it could just be filled with projection because we are just thinking that this person is perfect or may not be perfect, but perfect for us, and so forth and the other. They could do no wrong in our eyes. Well, during that time, there's something really important that we should be doing, especially as women, and that is to listen closely and to pay attention to what the person is saying to us, right, in the moment, because those early days, those early weeks are crucial. When I work with women, and myself included, when we reflect on the ending of a relationship, we tend to go back to those early weeks, those early days, those early months, and there were things that were said or done that we should have paid closer attention to, or that we saw, and now we will call them a red flag, but we saw them, and then we kind of just pushed those things aside and continued with the projection. We continued with the fantasy of who this person was in our minds, and believing that the fantasy was the reality. And what do I mean by that? Well, it can be very easy if somebody says, well, I don't know if I don't see myself getting married. My last relationship, it ended because, I didn't propose after 5 years of dating. And then we hear that and might dismiss that as, oh, sounds like he just wasn't compatible with the last person, but he's definitely going to commit to me. And then fast forward, your own 5 years later, and you're not getting the sense of commitment that you wanted in the relationship. Well, the person told you in that first date or those first few weeks who he was, right? And there was this tendency to just kind of sweep it under the rug and dismiss it because the connection was just so vibrant and it was so alluring, and you gravitated towards the connection. This is no judgment and no shade to anybody. We've all been there, myself included. So, so this is not a knock on anybody who's currently in that space of realizing and reflecting. We've all been there as women, and so this is an opportunity to see and say, okay, noted. I will do this differently next time. All right. So the lesson there is pay close attention, right, to what somebody is saying. And the fact in that example that I gave is, oh, okay, this person has no problem being in a long-term relationship, but has a problem making the type of commitment that I would want. And that is if you want the commitment of marriage. That is what that person said. So, and then there are obviously other examples. People have disagreements about, whether they want children or how many children or where they would want to live and what their living arrangement would be like, and so forth and so forth. All of these things tend to come up very early in the dating process. And if we are listening, right, and not giving so much credence to those early butterflies, then we are in a position where we can assess and reflect and make sure that before we proceed, we are moving forward with clarity and a sense of knowing who we're really dealing with rather than who idealizing the person in front of us. Okay. So that's the number one tip. Let's avoid the projection. Another Maya Angelou quote I want to share is, I don't trust people who don't love themselves and tell me I love you. There is an African proverb saying, which is, be careful when a naked person offers you a shirt. All right, so what does that mean? Okay, I love you. I don't trust people who don't love themselves, but they're telling me I love you. Chances are, do they love you? No. The reality is because they cannot love themselves. And how many times have we seen a situation or even been in a situation ourselves where we are seeing the person grapple with accepting who they are for whatever reason, right? And then, you might be taking on the role as a therapist, the healer, the comforter, and you're wearing all of these hats that you probably shouldn't be wearing just to be in a relationship with a person. Nobody is perfect, right? And we all haven't arrived, and we all have to go on our own healing journeys based on our lived experiences. We all have to go on our self-love journey. So nobody's immune to that. But when it comes to dating, definitely in those early stages that of the relationship, you can pay close attention to where this individual is on that journey. Are they making self-deprecating comments? Are they, very critical, unnecessarily critical of themselves, of you? It starts out just a little bit, but it will always progress. So pay attention to those early signs of, if you're questioning whether this person may have an issue with accepting themselves, chances are they're going to have an issue with accepting you. And who wants to be in a relationship with somebody who can't see them or accept them for who they are? No one. It's an exercise in misery. So let us avoid that, right? Let us avoid going down that path. And then I think another thing that I want to share with this topic, right, is that attraction does not equal alignment. Attraction does not equal alignment. Just because you have the chemistry with someone, just because you have some things in common to make conversation, doesn't necessarily mean that you're aligned, that you have core values and shared beliefs that would make for the foundation of a successful long-term relationship. So, attraction, yes, I'm not minimizing the importance of an attraction. It's important. But I think we tend to give too much credit to attraction. And one thing that I have seen and witnessed and experienced with unhealthy relationships is that when it starts off high, right? That's as good as it's gonna get. Are those early days, those early weeks, right? That's as good as it will get. The longer that you're in it, of course, things will eventually spiral and go down a path that you did not want it to go. So again, you want to make sure that you are paying attention and we are not projecting what we think and what our fantasy is on the person in front of us, that we are seeing who they are, we are listening to what they're telling us about themselves, and we're acting accordingly with that information. Okay, and that we put ourselves, especially as women, in positions where we are capable of separating the fact from what is fiction when we are engaging with a person with the intention of developing a romantic relationship with them. All right, so I hope that this was helpful, and if any of this content resonated with you, please make sure that you are liking and you subscribe to the channel, and also please make sure you share with a woman that you think would benefit from this content. Well, thank you so much for engaging and providing your insights. I would of course love to hear how you do that, how you separate fact from fiction, as you are dating or as you are considering entering into a relationship, a romantic relationship as well. So until next time, keep well.